Shalom, everybody. Most High in the name of Christ bless you. Welcome to another episode of our show. In today's world, many so-called African Americans in search of their identity have decided to cleave unto ancient Egypt and their philosophies. We welcome you to join us as we examine the scriptures to see what the Bible states concerning these issues. That is, if you can handle the truth.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting topic today, to say the least. We'd like to thank the Most High God and His Son, Jesus Christ, for edification, for all things, for His mercy and His grace. This topic, we're dealing with Egyptology. We understand that the whole world itself don't even realize that's what they're really serving anyway.
Exactly.
But these individuals out here that's really teaching this so-called, they feel as though that the sun is God. I mean, it's a bunch of garbage. But Lord's will, we'll be able to explain that with clarity today, through the Spirit of the Most High God. So, you want to add?
Yeah, one of the important things you said was some of our people, like we read in the opening of the show, that a lot of brothers and sisters cleave onto ancient Egypt for some identity, because they were of African descent and they identify with Africans. What they fail to realize is there's many proof that the people that were brought here in slavery were not African people. They were Hebrew Israelites. Even though they were taken out of Africa, the land doesn't determine your nationality. Just because you was in the land of Africa don't mean you're of African descent. Your people, the family you come out of, that the blacks that was brought here in slavery, the family that they came out of, according to biblical prophecies, according to history, many different historical sources, were descended of the ancient Jews. They were Israelites. And they still are the Israelites, whether they know it or not. And, a lot of blacks are cleaving on to ancient Egypt, but all black races don't come from ancient Egypt. All the different families don't come from ancient Egypt. For example, when the Israelites came out of Egypt, they went into the land of Canaan. And there were Africans in the land of Canaan, which is known today as modern Israel. And those people have nothing to do. Their history have nothing to do with the history of the ancient Egyptians. So if you want to cleave on to black history, how you know your forefathers ain't descended of the land of Canaan?
Like how you know?
Yeah, how you know out of all these black families, what makes you think that your families come out of ancient Kittim, as they like to say? But on top of it, one thing I would say, they were worshiping the same type of deities, because the whole world, not only the so-called Africans was worshiping the sun god, wasn't the sun god philosophies, but the whole world.
That's right.
Even to this day, are in the same philosophy. America is set up after Egyptology. You know what I'm saying? When you look at all the things going on in America, the Masons and the way this system is set up, it's all Egyptology. The modern Christian world is into Egyptology, is into sun god worship, whether they know it or not.
The Roman Catholic Church.
That's why they're into sun god worship, because they took their customs that came out of the Roman Catholicism, which Roman Catholicism, under Constantine, who was into sun god worship, he took all these pagan rites of Roman Catholicism and brought it into the church. That's why a lot of you guys claim that the way Christian worship came from ancient Egypt. The way they are worshiping are coming from ancient Egypt, because they are in the philosophies of sun god worship.
Exactly. But
when you go into the Bible, it's not dealing with no sun god worship. It's not dealing with that at all. And the people that you're speaking evil about are your forefathers. But there were certain things that were said, because this class is kind of based off different video clips we have seen on YouTube. And these individuals, one young man's name was Polight, was it Polight?
Polight and Seti, I believe, right?
Yeah, and another young man name was Seti. And they were making statements concerning the Hebrew Israelites and what we believe. And that's what this video is really, this class that we're doing on the Blog Talk Radio is really going to be based on, some of the statements they made. And what we want to do, we want to address some of them statements that were made. And we're going to play some clips of things that they said, and we're going to address, with the scriptures, some of the things they said. We want to address some things they said, and we want to address some things concerning sun god worship. This, Lord willing, is going to be a two-part we're going to do a part this week and a part next week, because next week we're going to address a lot of things they said concerning the woman.
Yeah.
Statements they made concerning the woman and worshiping a woman, and that in the Bible there is no place for the woman in the Bible. And, you know, it's a male chauvinist book. We want to address all those issues because all those issues are false according to the Bible. And we want to prove that. Anything you want to deal with now?
No, I mean, well, it's just that when dealing with a topic like this, dealing with Egyptology, you see that there was many gods that they served, you know, and the sun god was just one of the prominent ones that came up later on. But there was gods during the time of Israel being in Egypt when the Most High sent Moses to deliver his people, and Lord's will will go into some of those things too, on some of the gods that they served, and why the Most High even sent plagues upon them. Lord's will, if we have time to go through some of those things to show you how the Most High God said that their gods are no gods.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So Lord's will, we'll get to explain all that. For those brothers and sisters that are out there serving the sun god, worshiping and the earth god, the wind, and all these other different forms of gods, that these pagan gods, you need to really step back and study and do some research on these pagan gods, because that's what they are. They're pagan gods. But the true God is who wrote this Bible. And in a matter of fact, he created all these so-called gods that you worship. He created the sun. He created the wind, the star, the earth. He created all these things, and you serve them. You know, so Lord's will bring it out.
Okay. First thing I want to deal with was a statement. As a matter of fact, I'm going to play a clip of the statement that was said, and then we're going to deal with it according to the scriptures. This is the first clip.
The black community today is in shambles. We disenfranchised, we discombobulated, but I ain't never see a brother turn around and eat his children. And I want to know if the children of Israel, when they decided to eat their own children, the number one question I gotta ask my man, do you think there were no animals walking up and down the damn place? And I'm gonna say one more thing about it. As a father, if I'm starving and I got a child or I got a baby, that would mean by default my baby's also starving. That means I'm a coward. Cause rather than me go out there and be hunter-gatherer to come back and bring my child food, I'm going to eat my child and make him my food. Listen, man.
Let me speak on
Hold
that.
on. We talking about being Hebrew Israelites. You said we ain't got much of a choice. This is who we are.
I ain't say we have much of a choice. I said
well, if you are a Negro or Spanish or African American, we automatically Hebrew Israelite. How come this hasn't been passed down into our DNA? Because I see today, traditionally, if anybody is a cannibal, I'm not going to say there's no black cannibals, but it's clear as day that the Caucasian has more of this cannibalism in him. How come we not seeing this manifest in the black culture? Because they're not even poor,
on that, man.
And they being cannibals.
All right. So we see what he said concerning the Israelites eating their babies. And at the beginning, I didn't play the whole thing, but at the beginning he was saying, did the Israelites eat their babies at one time? And the brother said, yeah, we did that. And he's like, then why would I want to be an Israelite? And that's when he made the statement where Israelite is something that you're born. You know, it's just like being a Chinese. Either you're born a Chinese or you're not born a Chinese. You're born, Israel's a nationality. But now to address the issue of them eating their children, when he's talking about animals walking around, why didn't they grab one of the animals and eat? To show his lack of understanding of what was really taking place. I want to read a couple things. I'm going to read a couple things out the Bible about the prophecy of what was going to take place, and then I'm going to read something out of a history book. There's a book called the Josephus. Josephus is an Israelite historian that documented certain things that happened during that thing. You know, he was an eyewitness to the account. So I'm going to read certain things that he said about that siege. And to show that this individual that made that statement, Polight.
He just had lack of knowledge, man.
A very great deal of lack of knowledge. You know, and we're going to, you know, bring out some points concerning that eating the children.
And the reason why, I know for a lot of individuals that's probably listening, you would say, like, what does this got to do with anything? But the thing is, these guys really hold on to this so bad, no matter what camp they go to or who they see on the street that's an Israelite, this is like one of their first questions they ask.
Yeah.
You know, why did you eat your children? Like they got a leg to stand on.
Yeah, that's the only reason we really addressing this, because it's not really something big, but being that they use it so much and they ask the question so much, and there might be other people that's confounded by it. It's not really for them, but it's for those other people that sincerely wanting to learn and want to have some understanding that we're dealing with it, because you know, from the way these guys are, I don't think anything's going to turn them from their following the sun god. You know, the Lord's will, they will repent and turn from that. But for those out there that may be confounded by the things they're saying, this is really for you. Let's start with Luke. Let's go into prophecy where Christ speaks of it in Luke 21. We read this scripture here a lot, but it goes along with this point right here.
All right, Luke chapter 21. Start at 20?
Yeah, Luke 21. Christ is prophesying about this.
All right, Luke chapter 21, verse 20, and it reads, "And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh."
So compassed means the land is going to be surrounded with army. It was at this time in particular, it was the Roman Empire that was surrounded Jerusalem. They started their siege in 66 AD, straight up to 70 AD when they destroyed Jerusalem.
"Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein at." Thereinto.
So if you're in the neighbor countries, don't come back in Jerusalem. Don't come back to visit anything during this particular time in history. And we're gonna read about how easy was it for people to leave. We're gonna read about that. All right, read on.
Verse 22. "For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled." And
it was written in the book of Deuteronomy, if the Israelites went against the commandments of the Most High and constantly disobeyed His commandments, that this thing would happen. And a lot of times the Most High raised our enemies against us, and He had mercy on us. But when He sent His Son finally to talk to us and to let us know and to be that sacrifice, after that happened, it was prophesied that the city would be destroyed and will be taken out of that land and brought into captivity, as we read on. But go ahead, read on.
"But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days."
Give suck meaning you have little babies.
"For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon these people, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled."
So the Gentiles have a time, and their time is coming up. But it said that Israelites will be brought into slavery into all nations. So these individuals that's making that statement, your forefathers was brought here in slavery, according to biblical prophecy. You that are cleaving to Egyptian history, Egyptology and all that crap, your forefathers was brought here in slavery. So I want to read the part where Christ says that all things which are written may be fulfilled. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28.
Alright.
Now let's start at verse 49.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 49. "And the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle."
All right. That's one thing. You talking about there was animals walking around. The Most High said right here, "He shall eat the fruit of thy cattle." When they compassed us about, they took the cattle. Read on.
"And the fruit of thy land, until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee."
See, he will not, which shall not leave thee corn, wine, or oil, or increase of kind.